Great. Don't I need to start? I need to start on my end. I need to start on my end, right? I need to start on my end.
Yeah. No,
Do you remember we did it that way the last time? Something kept messing up when we did it. We are supposed to screen it from the computer and then you do something different. No, you do live screen. The audio is coming out. Okay. You get what I'm saying? You might get an accent. I, I, I always had it. We figured out after the meeting last month that because I wasn't running the meeting from my computer, meaning having the Zoom up and running. Not going live. You do that from your computer. It wasn't live. This is yours, look like it.
no, I'm just.
So whose screen is it? Yours. See? Well, I should be able to see the Zoom view. You know, just for my screen. I don't have to be the host, but I should be able to see it running from here. And it ain't letting me do that. Okay, now here you are. Let's see. I don't know. Watch. Hello. Don't think because this is yours. Okay, so okay. Bring this one up. Okay. You think this is it? But why is it showing your name? Oh, hello, Dr. Robinson. Meeting is. The content of this meeting is. Okay. Okay. We're, we're good. We're live. Yes. Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, Board of Directors. Director Snowden. Director Noah. Not present. Director Odell. Director Lockett. Not present. Director Buford. Director Robinson. Director Leggett. Not present. Director Taylor. And Chairman Cody. Chairman, you have a quorum, an in-person quorum to conduct today's meeting. Director Robinson. Director Leggett. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for putting that on the record. Yes. Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Lockett has a SPLOST 8 community meeting that's scheduled for this evening. Okay.
We appreciate your participation as we strive to ensure transparency and public involvement in our budget planning process in compliance with Georgia state law. The Chatham Transit Authority announced and advertised the following appreciate their participation, which all persons are invited. The purpose of this meeting is to present our proposed budget, highlight key areas of focus, and provide a platform for public feedback by way of public comment, both written and oral, regarding the fiscal year 2026 proposed. Followed by an opportunity for public comments and questions from the public hearing. Your input is invaluable as we work to meet the needs of our community and improve our transit service. Upon receiving input from the public, the CAT board and staff will discuss further at our next budget workshop. Will be held on Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025 at 4:00 p.m. Additional public comments will be accepted in writing to CAT board office. Attention board administrator at 900 East Manette Street, or by email, meeting@catchatcat.org through June 27th, 2025. Interested parties may view the CAT board of directors for item regarding proposed budget for fiscal year 2025 on the CAT website at catchatcat.org. Physical copies. The proposed budget are available for review at the CAT Central office. Individuals wishing to provide written comments during the hearing may post their comments using the option of Zoom chat box. The board of directors wish to hear comments from the public before the final decision on the adoption of the proposed budget this evening. So we thank you again for your attendance and engagement today.
It went out in the middle of his statement. No, ma'am. It'll be okay. Yes, ma'am. It will be record for the minute. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, and Mr. Chairman, we'll get those slides up for Ms. Cutter's presentation. For fiscal year 26. The price of what administrative and operating costs and their needs as defined by the board of directors and within the approved plans of plan, as well as wages and benefits for all employees. As you know, CAT is heavily dependent on travel dollars to support operations and capital. Other primary funding sources include special transit district grants, Shelby County's contribution for therapy service and service delivery by the city of Savannah, as well as financial support from other sources and community stakeholders.
26 budget is proposed from a conservative with the hope of getting more insight into formula and potential rate status in preparation for fiscal year 2027. The operating budget is proposed at $3,687,809, representing a 4.4 increase over the fiscal year 25 budget, primarily due to salary related increases as well as projected increases in insurance costs. The capital budget is proposed at $27,032,384, a 19.7% decrease when compared to the FY 25 budget, primarily due to the purchase of 2 new areas in electric infrastructure in fiscal year 2025. A second workshop is scheduled for June 3rd, 2025 at 4 p.m. and will focus on the details of the operating and capital. State law requires a balanced budget. The fiscal year 2026 budget will be presented for approval at the regularly scheduled board meeting on June 24, 2025. Public feedback is welcome throughout the fiscal year 2026 budget. Okay, on the screen.
1 second, Ms. Cutter. We just need to take a vote to open the public hearing. Okay. Motion by Director Buford and seconded by Director Snowden. Thank you. Director Snowden. Director Noah, not present for the vote. Director Odell. Director Lockett, not present for the vote. Director Buford. Director Robinson. Director Leggett, not present for the vote. Director Taylor. And Chairman Cody. Chairman, motion passed to open the floor for public hearing and comment. The floor is yours, Ms. Carter.
Was based upon the critical operational challenges and risks of Chatham Area Transit Authority. Service delivery that does not permit a budget prepared to address the issues of energy, a depreciating fleet, reducing ongoing and operating in the budget with funding to address this critical need and public transportation safety, buses, air, trains, public interesting. And these are things that we see operating to address this need. The FY26 proposed priorities and risk levels is an risk, service reliability, fleet replacement, customer care, building, bus, public, and security upgrade. It's highlighted in is to support local marriage. We support these folks. We when it comes to salaries and wages, employees, mileage, tax rate, and then we are looking for the next slide is the overview of the FY26 proposed with a federal and state share of revenue totaling 19,633,428, requiring a local match rate value expenses are identified below to include vehicle replacement, facility upgrades, dock repair, in the amount of $19,276,138. Transit expansion and mobility spend totaling $444,444. The 2023 ZE emission plan as approved by the Board of Directors totaling $1,171,039. Electric bus infrastructure, $897,631. Bus stop improvements, $500,000. Building improvements and passenger amenities equipment, $650,000. Capital contingency of $90,230, for a total of $27,022,000. This is an overview as presented for the FY26 proposed operating capital plan. The second workshop, as stated previously, will be held on June 3rd, 2025 at 4:00 p.m. and we will focus on the details of both the operating
And Mr. Chairman, at this time, we can open the floor up for public comments. And as of 4:24 p.m., I did check the meeting email account, and we had no comments at that time. And I'm going to check Zoom to see if we have any public comments virtually. No public comments there. And any public comments from the floor? Mr. Chairman, at this time, we do not have any comments coming from the floor. With a motion and a vote, we can close out the public hearing. Okay, and the second, Dr. Beaufort, okay. And we have lost the quorum, so we need to establish a quorum. Chairman, we have a quorum established, and I'll do a roll call vote to close out today's public hearing. Director Snowden. Director Noah, not present for the vote. Director Odell, Not present for the vote, Director Lockett. Thank you, and we're closing out the public hearing, Director Lockett. Is that a yes for you? Okay, thank you. Director Buford? Director Robinson? Not present for the vote, Director Leggett? Not present for the vote, Director Taylor? And Chairman Cody? Chairman, motion passed to close out today's public hearing for fiscal year 26 budget, proposed budget. Hello.
Everybody, my name is Doug Lizich, with Jessica Petticoat, today's show. We're honored to be able to partner with you all for employee access. I have really good news, not only on insurance, but also on with you very briefly today. So that's we did make this correct providing. We're going to talk through the medical plan renewal, with the UHC additional benefits currently in place today, and some that we want to suggest continuing employee expenses. Adele, we'll get it. I said this last time, but we are with UHC after we moved after a very long tenure from Blue Cross Blue Shield. This was because there was a significant decrease compared to Blue Cross Blue Shield. So hopefully they didn't come to the table. UHC set up, they said, we want to be this partner long term, and you all decided to take it. It's been tremendous in terms of the budget. There's been a lot of great wellness programs. But looking forward, this is what we're here to talk about. So everything that we do from a renewal standpoint, we start with the large claimants. And you heard me talk about this in the last meeting, breeze over a couple of these statistics, but large claims are anything over $25,000. That's the first bucket that we look at for renewal. And unfortunately, there were a total of 11 large claims reflected on the report, roughly $830,000. Last year at this time, there were only 7, totaling 300. The large claimants are up. The loss ratio, which is accounting how much money you give UHC to pay claims versus how much they actually send out, is at 95.1%. And we really want to be around 70%. The claims running, I'll touch on this in just a little bit. Heading into this, based on our underwriting, we thought a fair renewal, but a fair renewal would have been roughly 15% increase. UHC initially released a renewal in that 18.2. We negotiated an early renewal of 13%, but due to regulations, we did not accept that. So we went out to bid, and Jessica will talk on this, but we have tremendous news with our final results. I'm moving fast, just a few things that hammer home this point. Rolling 12 claims. Claims are on a lag. End of the last year, but as UHC is doing their underwriting, you can see in this darker red line, might be maroon, but all red. This is this year's claims on a per employee per month. So that really brings it down to a comparable number. You can see there's a spike. So claims were running higher than last year during this time. Last year when claims dipped, they kind of belly out this orange line. Yours raised, and then as we were coming back to middle, they spiked before. So yes.
So you anticipating 11 large practices here, and they'll be accountable for the next renewal because they're still open.
Great question. Yes, so I believe not. I thought that 9 of the 11 are still open. Now that doesn't mean that they're all going to run hot. Some of them are at the end of their treatment, some of those are in the middle. We're a little bit limited from what they tell us, but we don't expect claims to necessarily just go away. So we do expect things to continue to run hot, but as you can see, everything's cyclical. Everything's very organized. So just because they're a little bit hotter now, that doesn't mean they're going to keep running away. We don't see anything really too concerning right now from a disastrous standpoint, but there are some high cost claims with wellness programs.
but right now we don't have any catastrophic.
There are some, but none that, not like the clear field guy, which I guarantee $1 million. Gene therapy, under $3 million. They're roughly anywhere between 25,000. Okay, that. But yes, 9 of those 11 are still open, but nothing that we need to say, there's one problem this time. It's just a lot. Great question. All right, very quickly here. This is the claim summary. You can see on the top, this is an unit basis. So last year at this time, there was a total of $550,507 worth of medical claims, 264 of prescriptions, of aggregate total of 815,000. This year, they're roughly 1.3 or 59%. That sounds a lot higher than it should be. A big reason for this is enrollment increased 11%. So we wanted to break it down on a per employee per month basis. And that's still high, but it's a lot lower at a 43%. So part of this is claims are running worse than expected. The other side of this is last year claims were running acceptable. There was virtually total increase with well installed budget. So last year ran really well. This year is running a little behind. You can see here as we average it out, the total per employee per month range is 43%. That is why our underwriting estimate was roughly 15. Now, as we move to the medical plan history, this is going all the way back with Anthem to 2017. I want to look at this bottom graph. The top row is the initial renewal. So this initial renewal, 18.2% in 2025. And at the bottom row, this is your loss ratio. So this is how much money did they budget? Did they spend on? If we look at 2019 and 2022, 94.8, this was 99.5. This year was 95.1. The initial renewals were 37, we'll call 38%, 28%, whereas UHC this year only released an 18.5. So all that to say, we thought it was a fair renewal, but it was nowhere where we thought well was going to be, which is why we negotiate on work with UHC. And Jessica will get into this, but we have a much lower negotiated proposal with them. But the whole reason that I talked through claims is that the initial renewal that they send out is what they think is fair. Our job to make that more competitive, sell the story of what you already have, bring that down. And I think this number shows that UHC really does want to be part of you all. Will be a very good partner. So as promised, with that, good news for you all. I will be quiet, and Jessica Pedigo will talk about all the amazing work she's done. Remarks. Give it another. There we go.
All right. So I'm going to discuss very briefly kind of the entire market summary, and then we'll drill down to really just two of the proposals. So, and everyone does have this in their packet. This is too small for anybody to see. But generally, as y'all know, there's not a whole lot of fully insured medical carriers out there anymore. So that's all of them. And you can see the comparison, and sometimes I am not a detailed numbers person, so I like kind of looking at percentage. And I've got two different percentages on here. One is the rates, and that's the top section. That would be the premiums that CAT and employees are paying. And then the carriers also provide wellness credits sometimes, which is a fund that CAT can use on any wellness initiatives. And then you'll see some of them, Anthem and Cigna especially, provided administrative credits. And that really is only offered when if you're moving to a different carrier, because the carrier knows how much of a lift it is for the employer and somewhat of a burden sometimes for the employees. So that's why you'll see UHC that provide that, because you wouldn't be moving to. So it's not really that other carriers are more generous, they just recognize that if you're gonna move, they have to incentivize that a little bit in order to use that payment. But really, so you can see Anthem came in, for premium adjustment at 11.3% increase. Aetna was at 13. Those were not competitive. I did not plan this PowerPoint for these different things. So the two that I want to focus on are the current renewal from UHC, and then also Cigna. So Cigna offered us two options. One was only a 4.1% increase. You see that's on the very far right. And then if you take into account the credits that they were offering, it's only a 1% increase, which sounds great. However, it sounds great this year. Next year, we know you're going to get a big increase because they've got to recoup that. Also keep in mind, any new carrier that we would move to, you are paying them 12 months of premium, but a new carrier would only be paying out 9 months of claims. So it takes about 3 months to get those claims in. So that's why we have to be careful when we do market and not just because somebody's a little bit cheaper to jump to the next one, because we'd be doing it every single year. And as the UNREPs can attest, moving carriers can be a big deal when you're trying to get your prior authorization for your medications and stuff like that, making sure you're in network with doctors. That said, so that's why I'm not paying attention to that last column, basically, because it's too good to be true. And next year we'll be paying for it. The Cigna offer highlighted in red, though, we even negotiated the second year rate cap of 12%. So this year you'd be looking at an 8% increase in premiums and a max of 12% next year, which is, helps kind of caution that next year where we know it's not going to be a 30%. And then again, you're getting that $55,000 administrative credit from Cigna because they know the burden that it can be. Outside of that, the premium with UHC came back at 9%. And this is covering all 3 medical plans. So this is across all 3. UHC was 9%, Cigna was 8%. Because UHC is not able to alter those administrative credits with them. That's why you see, well, you take into account the credits, it's actually 8% for UHC and 5% for Cigna, but really that's that $55,000. And that doesn't benefit the employees necessarily. That is coming to pass. So that's why I still like to look, we like to look at the whole picture in every way we can slice it. But thinking about the employee's experience with the insurance, that's really the premiums, the 9% versus 8%. And if they're going to have to take on the burden of moving to the area. To break it down by plan, this is the high plan. This is the $2,000 deductible plan. It's what the majority of employees are on. And you can see with UHC, it's 9%, and UHC is 9% across the board. All 3 plans are an increase of 9%. Cigna for this plan is 6.4%. The middle plan, which is the $2,500 deductible, is 9% for UHC and 8.5% for Cigna. And then last, the high plan, which is the low plan, which is the high deductible plan. I can't keep the name straight. You can see it's 9% again for UHC. It's 26.6% though for this plan. And that is a lot to ask an employee to cover. And of course, CAP pays 70%, 75% of the medical premiums, which is huge. So way more than most of my clients pay for the employer portion. But that 25%, as we know in healthcare, is still a big number. And asking employees to carry the burden of between 9 versus 26.6 is a really big jump that we paid attention to. So our recommendation generally would be to stay, not our decision, but it's our recommendation to stay with UHC based on the very minor difference between Cigna and UHC, especially when it comes to the premiums themselves, and those $75,000 administrative credit. And if so, and this is, as you all know, there's big push, there's wellness that we've been working on over the years. But UHC has really broad offerings. Cigna does too. But UHC has some, they're already in place. There's some participation. But I think really, and I'll go through some of them, the focus could be during the year on getting more messaging out. Because of course, we covered it open enrollment. But it's a lot going on in one meeting to absorb for anybody. to understand all your benefits and the programs available and then to participate in them throughout the year. But with UHC, there are rewards. Employees can earn, employees and their staff can earn up to $300 back. You can link your smartwatch to it and earn points. You can go into the portal, take courses, go paperless, update your information, all sorts of things to earn gift cards back from UHC. So there is participation in that. As of the last report, which was a quarter ago, 56 employees had gotten rewards totaling over $6,000. So people are using that, and that's still early. That's only a little over a quarter into the plan year from 7-1. So that has increased for sure, and it will throughout the year. So that's kind of good that people are using that, but I would like for everybody to use it. It's on the plan to get that $300 back. There's also a program called Real Appeal. This is a weight loss program or weight management program. As you can see in the little image, so this is what UHC ships you straight out the gate when you participate in this program. It's a portion plate, a food scale, an actual scale. There's online courses, a lot of content, and it's online engagement. And so currently, 15 members have enrolled since inception, so 7/1/23. 15 members have enrolled, but only 3 are currently engaged, and 87% of Southern Transit members, which would be employee and staff, 87% are at risk health-wise, and therefore eligible for this program. So we've got 87% of people who could be using this program, and 3 people using it. So I think that's something that we could help work to that engagement. And also, it is a great benefit for people who are involved with it. There's also wellness health coaching. This is UHC's answer for diabetes and other wellness coaching. So, and all of these programs are free for employees and staff. So there's a person enrolled currently in this health coaching. So again, getting the engagement up and the information out on a more regular basis so that employees can really participate in these that they need to. Again, there's a maternity support. We'll get into the details. There's never been any enrollment in that or the tobacco cessation programs. And then lastly, I think, yes, there's a great program called Able To. This is somewhat new to UHC, but it's mental health support and kind of holistic support. So there's meditation, daily mood tracking, a lot of information in there. So it's kind of, UHC does have a good holistic offering out there. It's just that Discover and I've discussed how best we can get more engagement into the program. And then, is there any other questions going on? Any questions on UHC before I go a little bit the other benefits? Okay. And I won't belabor this because I know y'all heard this in the last meeting. But just a reminder at how much CAT does put benefits together and support their employees. There is that health reimbursement account for everybody. CAT pays the last $1,000 on their medical plan towards their deductible. So $1,000, the $2,000 deductible is really only $1,000 because CAT's paying that last $1,000, and that's for all 3 plans. So that's a huge benefit. And those are automated through UHC. And Cigna does not issue the gave calls as well. There's a wellness fund that we currently have at UHC. And that's, I think, getting some more equipment for the gym on site to make improvements. I know there's the Fresh Fruit Fridays were happening and online, on sites, lunch orders, all that is from that UHC wellness. And then there is, I know I mentioned last time that the free access to middle grade finance counseling. And I do want to go into that a little bit more because I think it's a great benefit. This is offered by our local hospice. This is the EBEL EAP, or Employee Assistance Program. And you can just see, this is again free to employees. You can see there are 24 people taking advantage of this, and you can see the different reasons that people are using this is a local in-person or telephone if you counseling services. And so to me, that is great to see those numbers and seeing people getting the help they need. And just in the first quarter of 25, there's been 13 initial assessments and 21 ongoing appointments. And those ongoing appointments to me are even better to see. Where it's not just someone went and got help from time and God was okay. People are continuing to use that. And that's a huge benefit that CAT offers their employees. And then that number was higher last year. So I imagine that will continue to increase. And then also the dental, again, I won't belabor this because we talked about it last time, but the dental policy renewed with MetLife. The claims for the dental policy actually called for a higher increase, but last year we negotiated a 7% rate cap. And so that's where it came in, at 7% rate cap for the dental. The vision plan is with UHC and it did not, it's still under rate guarantee. So it's not going to be any change for the vision plan this year. And then the same is true for life and disability plans at the Hartford. There was no increase, that's still under rate guarantee. So it's medical and dental that are seeing an increase for the next plan year starting July 1st. And then just wrapping it up, again, as I said, the Sarah and I talked about kind of thorough communications throughout the year. We do the benefits guide that we make updates to every year that all employees and hires get. It's also a good tool for potential employees. If you're kind of hiring people, because CAT does have great benefits, be able to show that to somebody and get them in the door. We will have carrier representatives here on site for open enrollment once we make the decisions as to who this carrier from or the wonderful thing. And then also, again, we do take this, we'll have 3 meetings, 3 days in a row with us on site in between those meetings to help educate any of the employees who want help figuring out plans best for them or understanding their benefits in general.
Is the $4,000 immediately available for the program?
It is immediately available, but you must spend it and submit for reimbursement. But you can do it on day 1 if you wanted to. You just have to use it during that point in the year. Any other questions on the benefits or?
Honestly,
Thank you so much for your time.
we're going to enter.
Next.
So we'll just need a motion to table items 4.1 through 5.3 until a special call meeting is scheduled. Okay. So motion made by Director Bill, seconded by Director Buford. Oh, Dr. Robinson, okay. All right. Okay, Director Snowden?
Yeah.
Director Noah, not present for the vote. Director Bell? Director Lockett, not present for the vote. Director Buford? Yeah. Director Robinson? Yeah. Director Leggett, not present for the vote. Director Taylor?
Yeah.
And Chairman Cody? Chairman motion passed to table items, action items 4.1 through 5.3 on the agenda. So, yes,
Nothing will be pulled from it.
correct.
As long as, no, we don't have.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with once you do.
Yeah, but, yeah, it gives us a chance. And we could probably, our table. So, and the breath. Prior to the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we come back, it will already be longer. I think so. Yeah, everybody. Email. Yeah, we could prove everything. That's what we're asking. We're asking, what do you want to have? And we can get those questions clear before we get to the meeting. So that's what we're agreeing on that. Okay. Good. That's the question about. That's the place. And we're just getting stuff. Communication is important. You know, if you know.
Mhm.
You know, we can kind of represent, have to take it off. Not put on there at all. Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, motion passed to table those items until the next, till a special meeting is scheduled. It's on a Thursday.
Yes, yeah. Also, to advise the board that the executive team was in retreat for 2 days. It was very, very good, and the focus was on effective communication. Local compliance, and the impact on Cassie to streamline processes, promoting timely project management of the board. The finance and executive committee, the executive office spent a regular reports on balancing the FY 26 capital and operating budget, ensuring that all priorities know during the year, and priorities listed in the master transit plan and other plans that has been adopted. Taking into consideration the unknowns of federal government part of the FY 26 budget. Medical insurance renewals were discussed with our insurance broker who just presented fairly frequently, Richard, primarily to address strategies that could help reduce the high claim history. In 26, the focus on the benefits is going to be on health education and employee wellness. The medical renewal action will come before the board on June 3rd at the budget retreat as well. Proposals affecting health insurance coverage were still being gathered as a Friday of last week. The original projection was 18%. In February, CAT submitted the cost of services to Port Wentworth, which came to $521,000, and that exceeded Fort Wentworth budgeted amount of $410,000. As a result, we still have three alternatives. They were still above 410. A fourth alternative was added for them to choose. They did send us their choice, which came to $427,785, and the alternative was to end Sunday service. In addition, alternative two was to reduce Saturday and holiday service hours, in Sunday service, with some impact on the frequency of services to Garden City and Savannah with a 2-hour service schedule. That amount came to $427,785. They have agreed to that, and that is up for any comment or concerns on the board that needs to go back to it. If with this alternative, information was also given from the operator who serviced that route, and the which really validated what the numbers were showing on our IT system that moving forward with alternative two, Port Wentworth's preference, that will be incorporated in July. What is different? Alternative two, eliminating such service and reduce Saturday and holidays. It does. It reduces the service amount and the revenue. Because they're on over 100,000 in cost. It's about 197, sorry. And why are we not just canceling the round and put on? Well, this was a proposal that when it was sent to the board back in March, I believe. They have signed some contract. We had received submit a cost proposal, which was $521,000. This is the cost for FY26. The projected cost is $521. That's what we said. Currently, they're paying. So they are $121 according to the amount. This time, I'm part of the analysis, and that's what it came out to. And they started out $52,000 with it. Well, the $52,000 was, as I repeated earlier, that was a negotiating strategy that was used to concentrate the arena reporting.
And I understand that you didn't use that stuff, but it was a bad strategy
Yes.
because it left us $52,000. And now we're $121,000 in the hole with this route.
What was the contract for?
The contract, I don't know why we didn't cancel the contract. We're $121,000 in the hole. And put it on the original route, which was extending 3D. The whole making this new route was a problem when they made the new route and we all complained about it. And it still got pushed through. Now they're still getting service that we're paying for, that they aren't paying enough to cover.
That was voted on. Budget. We are calling to carry out.
There's no clause in the contract to cancel. We just gotta keep a contract that we are running deficient on, and we have no act.
And that's a war. Is Andrew on Zoom?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Mr. Andrew?
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
But when you did the analysis for how much it cost this year, it was deficient. The actual cost was deficient.
It was not. When I worked with,
Yes, ma'am.
consultant. No.
But the actual cost for this year, this physical year's actual cost was more than $400,000.
It was because they had increases in operating salaries and wages.
Right. And so how much over was it?
How much over
Over $400,000.
the cost paid to 520.
So this year, we're already $121,000 deficient on this particular contract that we may not have a way to get out of.
This is for FY26.
But FY 25, we're $121,000 short.
FY25, you will hear that were acquired in FY25. Contractual agreement, they're not. The FY26 agreement, the FY26 agreement was actually based on miles and stops and all that.
But we're $121,000 in the hole right now
The difference for 26,
for 25.
I'm not understanding how you do it.
If it costs us $521 and they're paying $400,
Okay, that is the 521 is the analyzed cost for FY26.
okay, but how
It
much
does
does
not
not
mirror the exact same thing as 25.
So my question is, how much did it cost to operate this particular line for FY 25?
The cost that were given to you all was 400 miles with the $52,000.
But that was the estimate. What was the actual?
That's what they're paying for.
That's what they're paying for, but how much did it cost us? Because it cost us more than that.
According to the analysis that was given to the board, that was approved. The contract was $4,000.
That was the estimate. They told us that they were gonna, what is it, not even up, true up at the end of the contract. Because they had to true up at the end of the contract to know what to take to them for the increase for the following year. So we didn't true up the contract.
We. For budgeting. More than 26 by the end of
Right.
And this cost plans that run in February, the total cost of something for existing routes. Total.
So then true up,
That's not the true. The true up would not occur until after the ends.
so we won't get the true up until June 30.
If the contract calls for true up, the true up will be done in early July and an invoice will be submitted.
But I thought we were told that they weren't paying any more than $400,000. That's what they told us.
To the question.
And
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're saying it was a truck. If there's a truck, means that you pay for insurance or we pay that in the.
but we had an issue with the contract. Most of the people had an issue with the contract. So we said, you're already short $52,000, which was an unreasonable amount. We want to know how much is actually going to cost. And if it costs a substantial amount more, then it needs to go back to the original plan of a 3B extension.
It was my understanding that there were no additional modifications to the route. Is that correct? Is my understanding?
No, they created a whole route.
There's route. Three route.
Each of the new routes. That route was created last year. That was not an original line.
And then off and around on Bay Street and then continue to the airport route later.
Scroll back down.
When doing they never stopped the return, but it's different pattern. The pattern that we found, pattern that does in West Bay Street. For that time, that's pattern that goes now, it has to happen to the airport.
With the new route,
It's a route application, route 5. That goes by our name.
so do you know up to right now how much it costs to operate route?
There is an estimated amount based on the number of hours that was done in February. That estimated amount is $494. We don't know the exact amount, we don't know exactly how many hours.
So I estimated that we're short $94,000.
And it could be.
It could be more.
It could, that's the more. That's based on. So even to the emergency structure, and all of that. So a truck will make adjustments for all of those issues that impacted service delivery. And that's what you can only do because you is project.
Right. But my issue is, we have other routes that we're not servicing, that we could service this particular route by extending 3B. We're cutting routes and moving stuff around, and we don't seem to be addressing that this Port Wentworth route is costing us more money than we're receiving. It costs more money than they're paying. I don't understand why. You can't address that it costs more
But
than they pay.
we really don't know whether it's over or under. But the projection for FY 26 was actually based on revenue hours and revenue miles based upon what is outlined today.
But we know that a minimum, we in the whole $52,000.
Yes,
At a minimum.
well, that was, so when you know, for that round of discussion about that.
Right, and most of this took place while you were on Medicaid. So you weren't here to help us through. Right. So you weren't here, and there was a lot of discussion about this particular route. And the day that we voted on it, the entire Fort Wentworth executive staff was brought in to sit around for the vote. We have a contract that is not servicing the agent. It's servicing Fort Wentworth, which they're paying out of their operating account instead of going through a referendum and getting on the transit tax like they're supposed to. And we had a whole meeting about that. I'm not even sure if it's legal for them to go around and not go on a referendum and get in a transit tax.
Well, it is my understanding that Mr. Mathis, you know, speaking that they are moving forward. That's the question.
But when does the contract end? Or why can't we adjust it how we want to adjust?
Well,
They're only paying $400,000. They should only get $400,000 for our service. Andrew.
Andrew?
He's on mute. He got on mute. Mr. Andrew?
I'm here. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Is there a true-up clause in this Fort Wentworth contract?
So I don't have it in front of me. I'm traveling. I don't think there is. In the current, we drafted an amended version, and I honestly, as I sit here, I don't know the status of whether it went through or not.
Remember getting the amendment that we asked for. I don't think it
I
was
can't.
done.
They need to.
And
be
I
quiet.
would like to know if there's a true up, can we cancel the contract? And what the ramifications of canceling it or redesigning the route is. They're not paying for the service they're not paying enough for the service that they're receiving. We are in the hole on this contract. That can't be beneficial to the agent. How does that serve us?
Regarding what we have. We are actually billing for what services they are receiving. And they are into the transit district prior to did not work, which I don't think is going to happen. It's just not enough time. There will need to be a new contractual. And that could be, if it's not in the contractual agreement now, it can be proposed to them, whether they accept it. That's again around the table. And that's, we need to, first of all, get legal guidance simply because I'm hearing that there was some amended agreement that may not have gone forward, that I'm not aware of. But the analysis revealed that is the true cause of service. And for whatever reason, service is not provided. It could be offered at them, and that's not an unusual problem. Yeah. Yeah. And so, well, this really was an update, and it does impact Fort Whitworth FY26 budget and impact FY20. Our budget will be updated to reflect the alternative to amount for the 427 and their budget as well. Now, if there is a disagreement as it relates to the cost purchase, then that, something the board. I think something we need to know that this is a version of a truck. It was a fixed contract, but Andrew is going to clarify. He'll be back either this evening or tomorrow. And for us, I'd say, no, they don't recall seeing a truck. I just recall seeing a requirement that we submit to Fort Whitworth by the end of February, the cost to maintain the existing service level investment.
But there was supposed to be a.
Okay, yes.
And I think that was the sign before you came back.
Yeah, I wrote that.
Me.
That was the look at that.
Mhm.
That's what I believe. I just don't recall the clause, but we're going to verify.
And I just passed that out, Ms. Cutter, the contract that was approved by the board in November 2023. That's what's attached.
Yeah. In Garden City, have significant contractual. And significant contractual. That we don't have those contractual issues. And Garden City is not been done. And that was supposed to happen in the next day. And we keep, let's go do it. Let's make sure the contract is rewritten with Garden City and more. I've had those same issues, because we can't fix what the issues were in the previous contract. We can make sure that we don't have those issues in the coming contract. Well, we should be able to cancel and renegotiate. I think. I mean, we voted for her because she asked us to do put a lot of pressure on the side to go. Because that's all, yeah, but right, but we said. That is they, all they told us, that we went to the town, right, and they told us that we weren't necessarily accurate in our interpretation of it. Now, again, that's not enough. Because I'm not ever been my life is what's going on in the past. And I can make sure that the future is going forward. We don't have.
We just have to do
You have to be very careful with any contract.
You cannot amend the price. You can amend the verbiage, but the price, that's why it's called from this price, it's solid. You start doing that, you'll set yourself up for lawsuits down the road. Because if you told me I'm paying $400, and then later on you come back and tell me I'm paying $450, that's not an issue. Whatever you told me I was going to pay in the beginning, on a firm fixed price, that's what I'm paying. And you can change the verbiage to say when I pay, how I'm paying, but that price is firm. So we have to be careful as a board, like the director said, you have to know what type of contract it is. Read the verbiage, take our time and just read the verbiage. Because if not, we're going to be in a bad way when someone who has more knowledge than me about contracting start reading something. I'm just putting it out there.
Well, that other option is that if we did not receive some of it, we could to look at what we've done. So I can go back and change on this, I'm saying as an alternative, you know, always keep alternative advice, but this going to. Right, I understand that, we say, what's already been done. We have $30 from the fiscal year ending with corporate. So I'm kind of right now, what happened in the bring it back to us. No, right, bring it back to us, give us the information. And let us be able to work smarter going forward.
Mhm.
Into the new contract, if you care to go into a new agreement with them. For years, 30 days from fiscal year and budget. But so in 2026, we will not have to renew the contract. We have to renew. No, that's not. To renew it, it's giving us an update of what you found out from. Simply because that is in the business of public transportation or Savannah. And we're talking about a municipality. I'm not an attorney, but I would think it would be very difficult to tell Fort Whitworth we're not on service yet. But we just need to take, we to design it. Absolutely, yes. So that it's cost effective. Yes, correct. Which would be all agree. Which would be extending 3B and subtracting route. Right. That's the most cost position. Which is something we say before the fall. Right. Go back. Right. We can change the ramifications. Right. Yes.
Well, it's a 5-year contract.
Because it is a first down. I'm not saying to completely delete the route. Right. I'm saying the route is not cost effective. The route did not start out cost effective. And that was something that staff has been looking into. Because there's no ridership early in the early day. Is that correct?
So, and that's not just going back, but anyway, we need to be looking at communicating with the staff at housing who really can confirm and allocate.
Yes, ma'am.
Sensible. You're right. During a given period of time. That goes for everybody. While we should monitor, communicate, and make necessary adjustments. On the schedule when they're doing this process. Nothing stays the same.
And we've made adjustments to other routes
Yeah.
that were not safer and it can't adjust.
And we couldn't have them.
We sure did.
No. And it's a totally wants to make it.
I'm not saying to not, but they need to get what they're paying for. We're in the hole on this agreement. And it was negotiated one side and against to begin with.
The process, filing for, FY 23 and 24, 5307 funds. And we're going to utilize those dollars to, get facility, replaced and to help with some other projects. Cat was fortunate to, get some COVID relief funding that takes us through 26. So we can divert these funds to assist with capital. That's pretty much all of it. Update. We can do the revision reports if that's the pleasure. Dr. May.
Communications, oh. You want Sam, and Sam, your executive director's report, safety and communication. And then safety. Okay. Okay.
Good evening,
just wanna share how we already started to share Route 11 changes, proposed changes as we had a public meeting. At the Delaware Center and also want to recognize the board who went to the Savannah State Gala and Savannah Convention Center event, just showing that community representation. And as Ms. Cutter already mentioned, the Savannah Bell's Ferry Celebration event has been extended, rescheduled to next week, but also looking at other stuff that we have coming up in the month of June. We have former director, Commissioner Kim Adams bus stop dedication ceremony on June 6th, which is next Friday at 10 a.m. And I will get the actual bus stop location to you at a later time. We also have Ridership Appreciation Month, which is every June, and the board approves a zero fare week every year. That will be the week of Juneteenth. We also have ULAC service changes, public engagement pending, the board approving the ULAC service changes. And then we also have Pat Chat, Your Ride, Your Voice. This is a new public meeting in conjunction with planning to get engagement from the community on what they want their lives to look like. And
Okay.
Board of Directors, and Safety, Security, and Risk Manager. First time I've spoken directly to the board and done, running data and updates, so see anything, you feel that, different data would be more useful, change the format. We're also improving, a lot of our, way we keep data, so we'll be able to build this out. Update that system. Okay, so starting out, this is overall safety events for month of April. Most of it is security and vehicle collision incidents. These security incidents right here, those are only onboard security incidents that were reported and resolved by operations staff. That may be if security wasn't available, ground supervisor came out and responded to that. I have the actual security data from our security staff setup. So yeah, 8 security events on board, 8 collisions, 3 non-collision related injuries, and 1 complaint. These are overall safety events for the calendar year. Safety portions are mostly similar. Collisions are largest in terms of the number of safety events which occur involving our vehicles, with security coming in second and other non-collision injuries third. Those would be like passenger falls, people stumbling. Breaking down the onboard security events for the month, we have 1 instance of property damage, 1 assault or battery, 2 policy violations, and 4 disorderly conduct. And again, these are onboard security events for the calendar year as a whole, with generic instances of disorderly conduct being the most common. People shouting on the bus, out of control, can't calm down. These are our collision events for April. We have 3 side swipes, 3 fixed object collisions, and 2 broadside collisions. And collision events for the calendar year. Side swipes and fixed object collisions being the most common. So we will be putting effort into addressing those safety meetings. We have here the actual listing. I'm not sure if it's in your packet yet, we will certainly provide that. But this is just a little bit more detailed breakdown of the collisions that we had. Fortunately, all of our preventable collisions this month, and this is typical. All of our preventable collisions were very clear in nature. What we do see, we can definitely do a better job of addressing some of these preventable collisions. But the severe collisions almost always tend to be not. And again, just breaking this down by on-site versus off-site, and no on the other last month. We had 3 fixed route preventable accidents, again, all minor in nature. We're all, I believe, fixed object mirror collisions, so folks pulling into a bus stop and bus stop sign. Yeah, that's one of the more common types because if you're not watching that mirror, it very easily happen. Yeah, signs, trees are our most frequent other involved conflicts. So the fiscal year 25 average for fixed route preventable accidents per month is currently at 2.6 with 1.79 preventable accidents per 100,000 people vehicle revenue miles. And for the month, we had 2 demand response preventable accidents, currently averaging at 1.7 per month, 2.4 per 100,000 vehicle revenue miles. We do see the paratransit, even though there's a lower rate of absolute numbers of preventable accidents, the rate per revenue service is higher due to the fact that the vehicles don't drive every mile. And then this is just showing the running average per 100,000 vehicle revenue miles in our fixed route in orange and our demand response in blue. So as this continues through the year, the averages will start to flatten out. We started out really good on fixed route, and then have kind of going up a little bit, but are still sitting below the 2 mark, which is our goal. Demand response, we're going to be investing a little bit more effort in trying to get these figures down because we are a little bit above where we want to be there. Claims updates, we had 7 new claims that were reported in April, with 5 claims still open, so 2 are zeroed out. Of those 5 still open, at $147,641 in outstanding claims. And this
And those liability claims or what?
these are liability. Now these are not costs that at this personal level, these are our insurance company, and costs may not actually get up to that point, but just as a show the impact or potential impact of that claim. This little chart right here, this is breaking that down by the type associated with the reserves. This is by far the most expensive types of claims in the DR absolute fault.
So what is our loss run?
Our loss run, and currently I only have this for the freight report in April. Again, when we go back, our loss run is not given to us in performance. Pull the numbers out. I believe our total outstanding reserves on our commercial policy is about 1.4. Again, that's not the amount they have to end up paying. Yeah, so that's what our insurance.
And so this policy on physical here as well.
This policy is set for review with the law.
Last person, okay. So what increase will be the city for the policy here?
We do not have final figures yet, and fortunately, I have to keep getting that information from our brokerage to looking at, as a matter of.
Because our reserves are high.
Yeah, they are. And we do expect some kind of increase for next year. It's not expected to be a dramatic increase. I think it's not on one. And despite the fact that, our losses are still a little bit higher than we're trending. So, yeah, we do expect those to renew, and the increases should be covered by.
I would want to see what it's all about. Not to do that. Things like whatever to whatever. I want to see the age of that front because of the training. They need to go down training. Right?
Yes.
These are new people who want the same thing. And to me, that's not their fault.
Right.
You want to experience.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm experiencing that.
And at one point, yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
My thing is the driver, who put it out. Really, they're having this.
Yeah, we, in fact, I think I might have used that template for this, but I know when this data is being documented before, we did actually have sort of, again, I apologize if that's not in here. I think overall, definitely do see that newer drivers, are more likely, essentially be involved with the here at this time. So we can definitely have that data ready for just doing some security updates now. This is where we're at staffing wise. We have 7 security officer positions filled out of 13 budgeted. We're at a pretty comfortable coverage level. We just can't accommodate very well where someone should be out. But we have all our essential slots filled. So, in terms of prevention and presence, I just wanted to highlight that this month, our security officers performed 1,033 foot patrols, 1,195 security disputes on in-service vehicles. We inspected condition at 181 different bus stops. These are the calls for service for the security staff, not the onboard security events that were resolved by operations staff. I know this text is a little bit small, but the lion's share are calls for policy enforcement, whereas all these others request the security dispatch 911 because someone's out of a medical emergency, for example, or being called by law enforcement investigation. Those are relatively small.
You got on board.
These, some of them are on board for the mobile security officer, but the majority. And whereas for April, I believe it was around 9 on-board security events. You see the number of enforcement actions taken at the IDC. The IDC is definitely our area as far as of these enforcement-related calls. The majority of those were for loitering, so people who were staying there. The next most common type of violation is people smoking in areas where they should not be smoking. They're supposed to on the platform, go to the designated smoking area. Disorderly conduct and alcohol use make up some. We have like excessive noise, for example, people listening to music without headphones, and then we did have one. And then general updates, we have largely completed the upgrades to our access control system both here and at the transit center. On April 3rd, we performed a safety blitz where we looked at how our drivers were doing their pre-trip inspections and rotating security improvement to work on there. We also, and this is not an April update, but this month resumed our monthly safety meetings. We'll be able to use that to speak directly with the drivers, address any safety directly happening. I'm very excited about that. And that is it for me.
Thank you.
John Cody, Sue, discount, corporate working as a life. I have friends for me from working as a big, you know that for sure always something. But that for you. I'm not gonna go through it, so I'm just gonna create the board. So that look at the board, I was approved. If the board will reform, did come to the board, ask for procurement of 3 million boxes. I did of that, due to climate, cover installment and other stuff people delayed. So expected delivery date will be somewhere August 15th, that's when they have the minibus. Yeah, once they get there, it's ready for, to have thermostat, we'll have radio and everything ready for. I will update for in case, whenever you must know, for the 4 buses that the board is approved, they will put inside ready to go on August 17th, 2025. Okay. The clever, I mean, the vehicle is there, we can have. It's just iPhones, clever, hardware, radio, cameras. And all. Again, also, second bullet point, that the board can recall, fields the board and we get all classic vehicles. And this is an old replacement, so if this gets in, we'll have about 10 more vehicles. So that's almost about 88% of the fuel replacement by classic. Those vehicles will be here to July 15. Now, the process is that any procurement that we're going through, the vehicles will get here, the ready for. Unlike before, to have the vehicles here, to change that. So, once they get here, they're ready to go. Before we get like this our gasoline, much better than the electric one. The going 3 hours, you have to be in the back of your truck. It will be a very good bypass. I did talk about certification last month, and we really knew that I saw 2 board members saying we run into a bus stop. We run into a fountain. Water fountain. So what? Yes, I guess like telling around to what is I will make it. Oh wow. So on the research that we did, 47% of all preventable accidents are caused by the bus. That's the one. So 47% of all preventable accidents that prevent broken a tree, a water fountain, or get on track and going into people's backyard. Yeah, so we do a recertification. And recertification, I think we almost 3 years. And let's deal with one where it doesn't matter how people do the process and be certified. And then so the training manager is in the process. Now let the board be monitoring all fixed wire drivers. They have to go through this.
So how big of item that it?
Well,
You stick down in a smaller, like if you get a hole, can you see it?
well, some of the accidents are recent. Sometimes I don't know what the traffic's thinking, especially if you have a branch that is on the street.
Right.
And then they run through it. And when you ask them why they couldn't go to that, this is our part of the credit. So the training is to prepare. It costs us a lot of money. You know, all these mirrors they're not cheap. So, yeah. So now, with the new training manager, everybody's going to go through that training.
Because if you get a water feature, maybe you can drive that.
Oh, really not drive at all. Maybe not drive at all. Yes. Yeah. So, but we have the CBA in the type of accidents that if the class automatically very preventable accidents. So the old brothers, like President Swinton, they are poor. If you look at all their driver record and compare to the new ones, you can see that the whole process is about 20. But the new and also listening from the training and if you all can remember, we didn't have a manager for a while, so driver training. So I'll let the board know it's very important. Monitoring for all drivers for CDL and mass. Prevent this one, see if it's on. And the new ferry, I know some of the board members have been actually want to have over this. What I did last month, to all my direct was send out mechanics, vehicle shop, by contact Rob, we did, go to the ferry to see how the traffic is, and we did a trip in and out. Okay. No, well, it is at some point, but once you take something, yeah, once you take something, it's quiet. And I'm glad I did that. How to play. I will reach out that. And then the CBA, she's installed on things. We will use it contractual and we points on how do it. So the current CBA expires June, the end of June, therefore, 2 months. Replaced. Now we scheduled a date for that meeting as our first did introductory meeting protocol, and we scheduled one for Rachel. First, the union president reached out to me. They have to explain. So, the union president international. But I'll keep the union posted on the post. And that's it for me. My next slide is our pictures. I'm cool with my direct reports. Yeah. When you guys are ready, I'll be your tour guide.
He's ready for that trip too. He's ready for it.
Just give me a date and a time. I'll come to this and myself. Any questions so far? Okay, can we go to the last slide and then okay.
Mhm.
Can we go to-
It's coming up. It's coming. The last.
the last. So, like, you want to report everything. Which one?
You got it now.
Okay, this is ridership contract. One of the things that you'll notice is, on the totals, we use those the ABC. I don't have that. I'm not proud to say that we all in the cost of strongly have, on all of our records. It's what we call, more than 12. With the new budget data, so that's going to be a little bit better, right now, with the type of counters that we have. They're not going to say sometimes double counters, we have something like that. The new data, between reflectors will be up to date, and then also the reporting that we're going to have, it's going to be a lot easier to use. So some of those questions that we had about the productivity of routes, not just the raw productivity, the not required. Have it throughout the day, even at 5:30 route, maybe not be as productive as it would be if you came to that. But I'm really excited about having that new technology, not just the technology to account, but then also the reporting and temporary that practice as well.
What are our lowest performing routes?
So right now, the lowest performing routes are the 11 and 10 on the plus grade.
all of us do, but also they always just because of the neighborhood. So, and I can go here, this for another slide that shows you those higher performing routes. And you can see, historically, always 14, always historically been one of our highest performing routes. And then the circulator at the dot shuttle, again, a high performing route. And then those corridors, the ones that we want to increase the frequency on, the ones that we talked about in our waters, which is the 27, 28, 17, and 25. So again, all of those routes that have the big little serial areas are always involved with the higher performing routes. And then as you go into some of the more neighborhood routes, you'll see that those cannot be added. And then also comparing, we're doing better. As the blue line is this year, the 2025. You can see we're up actually higher than we were at 2024. 2023 was that time we were having a reduction in services, we weren't having an improvement service. We started bringing that back in 2024, and now we're seeing the ridership reflect. The more service that you have, the more riders you're going to have, and so we're seeing that come to fruition. I will also say that my staff is working on parks management, and so we've got the parks management, the access management, that Sam talked about on that part of parks management for that, and the cat that Josh and Scott spoke about, those things that we see in our staff project committed for that. So that concludes my report. Do you all have any questions? Okay, thank you. Everyone.
April, financial update is as follows. For the month of April, actually $1,592,132.56. $2,258,426. Our expenses were over our revenues, $666,294. Year to date, our actual revenues, $28,122,147. Our year to date budget, $29,082,709. For a variance of $1,565,662. Expenses year to date, $22,268,512. Our year to date budget, $28,748,000. We are under budget on the expenses, $6,480,424. And our net variance for the year, $7,077,630. Next slide, please. Our revenue by category, the percentages really has not changed much this month. Our special district transit tax is our highest revenue category. Paratransit, 20%. Contract revenue, 21%. Our other three categories under 20%, which is our grant, the passenger fares, and other categories. Expense by category, our expenses category pretty much remains the same as well. The salaries and wages being our highest category, 46%. Employee benefits, 18%. Insurance, 14%. All other categories under 10%. Next slide, please. This is the financial overview of our bank accounts operating balance at the end of April, $14,016,478. Grant, $2,500,000. $128,063, and our joint one investment, $9,220,085. Next slide, please. During the month of April, we've actually moved forward with setting aside $3.1 million, and this is for our capital and special projects. We have been talking about this for quite some time as far as isolating our capital and special project dollars from our operating fund. And this basically shows how we were able to actually accumulate 3.1 based on fiscal year 2024 savings, 2 million fiscal year 2025 capital, which we budgeted 1 million. Fiscal year 2023 retirement contributions, $80,000 and $20,000 for fiscal year 2025 retirement contributions. Next slide. Our reserve at the end of April 30, 2025, our balance $9,220,085. We earned interest on our reserve account for the month, $33,127. Next slide. Transit taxes collected during the month of April, $502,776. Next slide. This is our revenue by funding sources for the month. Our special district taxes came in low at $502,776. Paratransit funds, $649,310. City of Savannah POR fees, $67,170. FTA grant assistance, $263,914,000. Our City of Savannah DOT shuttle, $204,069. Operating cash balance, April 30th, $13,796,181. This is our projected cash through June 30th. At June 30th, we anticipate having a balance of $18,079,197. Thank you. Are there any? Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you.